for every release that comes out and marks its place in video game history. There are those titles that don't get the spotlight they deserve, buried by shovelware that on the surface seemed similar. This is the case for a series I too was blissfully unaware of before its recent surge in popularity. So I'm going to the origin, to the PlayStation 2. Join me on a deep dive into one of the best series I've ever played, for the first time with the first entry. Welcome to Nostalgia.
手加減はしねえ。死にてえやつだけかかってこい。
Ryu ga Gotoku translates to like a dragon. The series goes by that name now, but most people know it as the Yakuza series. The recent explosion in popularity can be attributed to meme culture and the West's embrace of more niche Japan series like Persona. You might see Yakuza now as this wacky, outlandish franchise, especially if you've not played the games. But Yakuza 1 is quite different. The opening shots show the damp, dark, dingy district of Kamurocho, an area riddled with crime, with one particular crime shaking the foundation of the entire power structure of Tokyo's criminal empire. You witness a man cloaked in shadow, standing above a body holding a gun, with only the neon lights and flashes of lightning lighting the room. With the sound of the rain hitting the windows and the sirens blaring, a mysterious ring captures the viewer's attention, intriguing the watcher to its relevance. Flash forwards like this are a fantastic way of dropping you in at a moment of intensity, spurring up questions to keep you curious. It is after this scene that the stakes are softened, showing us our main protagonist, Kiryu Kazuma, in his regular day-to-day. This Roblox-shaped man is the lieutenant of the Dojima Yakuza crime family. Our first impressions of Kiryu is someone who has very much been there, done that. He's calm and collected, only resorting to violence when there's no other option. For a criminal, he's awfully respectful of others, defending anyone who's under threat. He's got a tough exterior, a reputation for violence, but underneath it all is a man who is very loving and honourable. He is certainly an outlier in Kamurocho. Kamurocho is almost a character in itself. It's tiny compared to the likes of your Grand Theft Auto maps, but this I feel offers a greater level of intimacy towards the city. You really get to know every street, every restaurant, every club. Kamurocho is bustling. Groups are congregating, crowds of people walking around everywhere. It feels alive. It's a seedy place filled with underground casinos that you can gamble at until you're strapped for cash. It's filled with back alley brawls caused by thugs and scammers. Scantily clad women that, to be honest, are often after your cash too. Yet it's oddly charming. There's a glimmer of light underneath all the grime. Honest shop workers that just want to be left alone. The more merry activities such as the batting cages or the claw machines. Kamurocho feels like home, and will only feel more so as I visit again and again in future games. The fixed camera angles, whilst not conventional nowadays, make the district feel larger than it is. It may feel somewhat restrictive, but you're never in combat whilst exploring. If you do happen to get approached by a thug, you'll be transported to these arenas, I guess similar to a turn-based RPG. These are cleverly masked by the crowds gathering, so it doesn't feel like there are invisible walls blocking your escape, even if there ultimately are. Unfortunately for Kiryu, the many people of Kamurocho have learnt the Star Wars way of communication.
He doesn't like you.
I'm sorry.
I don't like you either. You just watch yourself. We're wanted men. I have the death sentence on 12 systems.
I'll be careful.
You'll be dead!
During combat you have an attack, a strong attack, a grab, a dodge, a block and a lock on. You can do combos by performing up to 4 light attacks in a row, then following it up with a heavy attack. Any attacks that you do contribute towards your heat bar. You can expend heat to perform heat moves. grab someone near a table or a wall, find someone lying in pain on the floor. These are so impactful. The sound design is phenomenal. No matter what heat moves you learn or how many times you do them, they always have so much weight to them. And as the game progresses and you level up more, you are only going to get more moves to add to your arsenal. Leveling up is done with experience you get from feeding yourself or concrete to the nearest drunk. Each new ability from leveling further expands your moveset and health. There are also special moves you can get from training with Kamaki. Make sure you do these. You see, Kiryu is a train of pain, and unfortunately, he ain't stopping for anyone. This leads to him jetting off in one direction, unable to change course. So abilities like the backwards kick help alleviate some of the quirks of the PS2 combat system, which does have first game syndrome. It gets called out for being really jank, and yeah, the lock-on isn't the best. However, stick with it, get a few more skills, and it becomes pure carnage. You can bring weapons into battle with you, like daggers or guns, but I always felt like my fists did the job just fine. Alternatively, there are items in the environment you can pick up, and let's be real, if I'm caving someone's skull in, I'd rather do it with a street sign or a bicycle. It's gonna be more entertaining. All weapons do have durability anyway, so there's not really much point wasting your money and resources on them. There are several points in the story where the game goes from Kiryu taking out a few thugs to Kiryu taking out an entire building. This is where shit goes so hard. I am telling you, there is nothing more satisfying than going for an entire army of enemies with just your fists, and having that extra narrative incentive to rescue someone or you're trying to escape just adds to the thrills. So what narrative would support such violence? Well, after 10 years in the joint for a crime he didn't commit, Kiryu returns to a completely changed Kamurocho. There are many mysteries to be solved. 10 billion yen has been stolen from the Tojo clan. Kiryu's lifelong friend and love interest Yumi has gone missing. The Tojo clan's chairman has been assassinated, and at the centre of it all, a child looking for her mother, who is more important than she, or Kiryu, might realise. The plot twists and turns, offering many reveals along the way. There are a lot of plates spinning that teeter on being confusing, yet rarely bog you down with lengthy exposition. Most cutscenes pack a lot of info in a very short period of time, without feeling dry, often carried by the excellent characters. I've mentioned Kiryu's personality, but a lot of the enjoyment derives from his relationships with the rest of the cast. With an ensemble on this magnitude, there are a few who feel a bit underserved. Shinji, Kiryu's closest ally in the Tojo clan, I especially felt lacking in screen time, character interactions and character depth, but those that it does focus on, it handles with great care. Nishikiyama is the closest Kiryu has to a brother. Like brothers, there's a bit of a rivalry. Whereas Kiryu has the street cred as the Dragon of Dojima, the girl who's pining for his affection, and he's going to be the head of his own Yakuza family, all without compromising his values and who he is. Nishiki is, let's say, a little jealous. No cred, no bitches, no friends.
What, you think you're better than me?
He is always in Kiryu's shadow, and is fully reliant on him for emotional support. So when Nishiki murders the head of the Dojima family to protect Yumi, someone he loves that doesn't reciprocate those feelings, it's only natural that 10 years without his brother will cause him to spiral. Nishiki ascends the ranks of the Tojo clan, assassinating the third chairman Sarah. Feeling lost without Kiryu, and Yumi being missing, getting to the top of the Tojo ladder, in his eyes, is all he has left. This relationship with Kiryu, while somewhat impactful, is woefully underdeveloped. It's not so much the scenes before his turn, but those after. After the 10-year time jump, there are only 2 scenes between 2 characters that are basically considered brothers. The plot mainly spends its time juggling the many unravelling mysteries whilst developing the relationship that's actually at the centre of the game. At the point in the story in which they meet, Kiryu is showcasing his nurturing nature, not only saving a puppy but feeding it to make Haruka happy. As an orphan who doesn't know her mother, Kiryu already has that common thread. Just as he sees Kazuma as a father figure, he will over the course of the game become the same parental figure for Haruka. Fatherhood remains a common theme throughout, held as a chapter with the exact same name. We follow Kiryu's new ally, Detective Date, struggling to maintain his relationship with his daughter, the florist who keeps watch over a son but doesn't even know he exists, a father to Haruka who doesn't care about her life at all, just what monetary gain he can get from her. Ironically, it's the father figures that aren't related to anyone who end up doing the best job parenting their kids.
ひまわりは俺が親殺した子供のための施設。
いいんだ。いいんだ、おやっさん。俺にとっちゃ、おやっさんが本当の親父でした。
What is this trying to say? Well, I've always read it as a statement on biology, stating that family is who you choose them to be, not who you're related to. I imagine it resonates even more in a country like Japan, where from my limited understanding, puts a large importance on blood family, treating orphans as second-class citizens. Another strong narrative through line is the themes of responsibility. Back to Date, when things go wrong, he finds himself cozying up to the nearest bottle. It's not until he accepts he's not been a very good father that he starts to heal the relationship with his daughter. Nishiki also locked himself away from his misdeeds, burying his emotions more and more, until he became a monster. It's only when a bigger beast than him almost won by killing Kiryu that he finally took responsibility, trying to make amends for his mistakes, in a scene with voice acting that is beautifully tragic.
こんなやつに好きにさせてたまるかよ。最後のけじめくらい俺につけさせろや。やめろ、やめるんだ、錦！錦！
As you can probably tell, I'm not Japanese, and I certainly don't play games in Japanese, but most Yakuza games don't give you the choice. They are only with English subtitles. Some of the entries do in fact have English dubbing, but why did it take from the first game to the 7th to introduce the dub again?
You fucking Yakuza! Don't fuck with Kazuki-san!
How many times I gotta tell you, I'm not Yakuza. You retarded or just deaf?
Ah yes, the dub. Any Yakuza enjoyer will know how infamous this was. First there was the swearing that just feels like a desperate attempt to sound edgy.
Stupid! Fucking motherfucker!
Then there's the line delivery.
Go! Kill this arrogant motherfucker!
One of the benefits about playing this today is that there is a very talented individual that created what he dubbed an undub, that replaces all the dialogue with that of the Japanese release and adds in English subtitles. The original Western release only had English voice acting, and when comparing the two, it is easy to see which is superior.
Haruka, don't worry. I can take care of this. I'm gonna get you to Yumi no matter what. I won't let you down.
Thanks. Go get him, Uncle Kazuma.
So you ready for me? Then step the fuck up. It's time to die.
はるか、 心配するな。何があってもお前を守る。必ずユミに合わせてやる。信じてくれるな。
やっつけて、おじさん。
手加減はしねえ。死にてえやつだけかかってこい。
Fortunately, when it comes to the music, it was unchanged. And thank God that it was. It can be sparse whilst exploring, resorting to ambient street noise instead. The music that does play is often restricted to playing in the shops and the casinos. This sounds like a negative, but on the contrary, this actually helped enhance the atmosphere of this lived-in locale. The majority of the soundtrack is utilised for the combat and the cutscenes. The regular combat encounters carry this raw, grungy energy to it. Electric guitars, a hint of techno, even some jazz instrumentation. The music complements the tone of the world, this raw, dirty, dangerous district that these criminals inhabit. There aren't a ton of unique boss tracks. Bosses will often get the themes associated with their Yakuza family, so Shimano's boss fight will have the same track that plays when you encounter his lackeys. The main theme that plays during the opening credits, Receive You, plays during the fights with Goro Majima. Majima is a loose cannon, and somewhat of a rival to Kiryu. He's not so much trying to stop him for his boss Shimano, he just wants to beat him to prove himself the better combatant. Even protecting Kiryu at one point, because he just wants the glory all for himself.
親父なんで
桐生ちゃんはな、俺の獲物や。このこいつをやるのはわしだけなんじゃ。
Majima is more of a chaotic neutral in the whole thing. His boss theme shifts erratically between hard guitar riffs and techno beats, harmonising with Majima's crazy, unpredictable nature. He's easily the character that's the hardest to attack, his speed contrasting with the slow slab of meat that is Kiryu. Most boss fights manage to be enjoyable, owing most of their memorability to the story significance and spectacle more so than their mechanical depth. The only time the combat shits itself is when guns are involved. If you don't have a bulletproof vest, God knows how you'd be able to take down Arase, who was quick, surrounded by other men, and dual-wielding pistols, a true recipe for disaster. And another jolly jaunt was Jingu. Jingu can only be described as an absolute prick. He's the quote-unquote big bad, the man at the top, hateable. Yes.
Mole! Bloody mole! We're not supposed to talk about the bloody mole, but there's a bloody mole winking me in the face! I'm gonna chop it off and cut it up and make some guacamole!
He's mentioned way too late and shows up even later, so there's no room for an interesting foe. He's just a sack of shit in a suit. Even his boss fight is unremarkable. It's just a slog. However, the creme de la creme, the main event against the fishman himself, the pussy repellent.
Were you someone's prison bitch?
Nishikiyama. This boss fight is the closest the game comes to fighting yourself, which is very thematically appropriate. He's like Kiryu, but worse. It's a superb ending gameplay segment to the end of the game, with music that's more melancholic than you might expect. It's a battle between two brothers, changed forever by their environments, who have only drifted further and further apart. One who's become more open, compassionate and fearless, and the other closed off, heartless and consumed by fear. It's truly an amazing final boss. Maybe not the final boss you encounter though. Joe Ammon is a secret boss you can fight, and for the life of me, I could not beat this guy. He's quick, he has a lot of guns. No thanks. But I did do all the requirements to make him appear. You have to do 79 missions, or as they are later coined, Substories. These are your side quests that will take up the bulk of your time when you're not battling in the Colosseum or playing minigames. There are two types of Substories. The first type all blend together. It goes like this. Someone tries to get money out of Kiryu or an innocent civilian via scams or just muscling their way in. Kiryu asks nicely for them to stop and it ends. These are fine. They're just fine. They certainly aren't frustrating. Some of these missions can be done in a matter of minutes, and alone they are worth doing for the XP and rewards. You'll just forget them as soon as you complete them.
Kiryu-san! あいつ男だ!
The other type of sub-stories are given more narrative weight and higher production value, given cutscenes as opposed to the regular text boxing. These can be self-contained, such as a story involving a hostess dealing with a suicidal simp, a doctor trying to patch up an injured child whilst dealing with some aggressive patients. Then there are those that add to the main narrative. She wants to get revenge for the murder that everybody believes Kiryu is guilty of. These are incredible stories that are unfortunately the exception, not the rule. It provides more chemistry between Kiryu and Haruka, but enhances the narrative without feeling necessary to understand the main plot, even tying up some loose ends, such as a plot line dealing with a mistaken identity. Tying up my thoughts on the game, it's unfortunately in a bit of a bind amongst the community. Little people have played or have any interest in playing the original Yakuza. With a remake out, there are few that care to try it, and the infamy of the dub stopped people from being able to take it seriously. It's hard to put into words, but there's a stylistic choice, a time-capsuled tone, a feel to the overall package that gives it this raw purity. I'm so glad that this was the version that I tried, and hearing it with the Japanese audio really sells the expressions of the voice actors who are really just putting in their all. I'm not going to tell you that this is absolutely perfect, yet I love this game, truly. It's fine to prefer the remake, but most of the community just dismiss the original and act like it doesn't even exist, and that's quite sad. I felt everything during my time with this. Sadness, joy, unbelievable hype. I truly believe that this is a strong start to an amazing series. Have you played Yakuza 1? Will you, after watching this video? Can I think of a good outro?
10 years in the joint made you a fucking pussy.